"Police, ma'am, open the door." The knock wasn't polite. It wasn't neighborly. It was the kind that rattled your bones. 3 hard blows. Pause. 3 more. Final. Official. I was already awake. Jet lag had me up before sunrise, my body still stuck somewhere over the Pacific. The cheap blinds in my rented room glowed faint blue with the early light. I sat on the edge of the bed, boots on, hands resting on my knees as if I'd been expecting it. "Ma'am, we need you to open the door." I stood, steadying myself out of habit more than fear. 12 years in the Navy teach your body to move before your thoughts catch up. I crossed the small living room, if you could call it that, and paused at the door. For a second, I caught my reflection in the narrow hallway mirror. Hair pulled back tight, face calm, no makeup, just a woman who looked older than 32, the kind of look that said she had seen things and learned not to flinch. I opened the door. 2 officers stood there, one older, one younger. The older one spoke. "Ma'am, are you—" He glanced at his notepad. "Rebecca Carter." "That's right." He nodded. "We're here regarding a property transaction, a home sold 3 weeks ago under your name. We need to ask you a few questions." I stepped back, opening the door wider. "You better come in." They hesitated for a half second, taking in the modest place, the single suitcase by the wall, the absence of anything permanent. Then they stepped inside. "You just move in." "Temporary?" the younger officer asked. "I just got back stateside," I said. The older officer nodded, like that explained something. He pulled out a folder. "This address," he read aloud. "My house, or what used to be mine." "Yes," I said. "That was mine. Records show it was sold for $680,000. The documents carry your signature." "Did you authorize that sale?" I looked him straight in the eye. "No, I did not." Silence filled the room, heavy, slow. The younger officer shifted his weight. The older one studied my face, looking for a crack, a sign of confusion, fear, doubt. He found none. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "that's a serious claim." I was aware. Another pause. Then the question I had been waiting for. "When did you first become aware of this?" I let out a slow breath. 3 weeks ago," I said. "While I was still deployed." He raised an eyebrow. "And you didn't report it?" I met his gaze, steady. "No," I said quietly. The younger officer frowned. The older one just nodded, like it told him more than I had said. "Can you tell us why?" I didn't answer immediately. The truth wasn't simple. It wasn't something you could explain in a single sentence at your front door with 2 officers watching like they were trying to decide which version of you was real. I walked to the small kitchen counter and poured a glass of water. My hands were steady. They always were. "I can," I said finally. "But it's not a short story." The older officer closed his folder halfway. "We've got time." I nodded. I took a sip of water, set the glass down, and leaned against the counter. "It started," I said, "about 3 weeks before that house was sold. And just like that, I was back there, back to the place that used to feel like the one solid thing in my life. I bought that house the year I turned 30. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. A 2-story place just outside Norfolk with a small front yard and a back deck I built on weekends. I remember the first night I slept there. No furniture, just a mattress on the floor, a box fan humming in the corner, and real quiet. Not the kind of quiet you get on base. This was quiet that let you hear your own thoughts. I lay there staring at the ceiling thinking, this is it. This is something I built. 12 years in the Navy leave few roots. You move, adjust, pack life into boxes more times than you can count. But that house, it felt like it would be there when I came back. I worked for it, saved for it, every deployment bonus, every extra shift, every bit of hazard pay put aside. It wasn't just a house. It was proof. Proof that I could stand on my own 2 feet. My father always believed in a different kind of strength. Family takes care of family, he used to say. I believed it until I realized what he meant. Some of us carry more than others. My older brother Daniel was charming, always one step away from getting things together. What they didn't say was how many times he borrowed money he never paid back, how many fresh starts became the same old problems. By my late 20s, the pattern was clear. Daniel would fall, my father would catch him, and somehow I'd be expected to help carry the weight. I stopped quietly years ago. I sent birthday money, showed up for holidays, kept things civil, but I stopped being the backup plan. My father never said he resented that, but I saw it in the way he looked at me sometimes, like I'd chosen something else over the family. Maybe I had. 3 weeks before the sale, I was halfway across the world. Different time zone, different rhythm. My days blurred together, measured in shifts, not hours. I remember the exact moment everything changed. Late, just off duty, that bone-deep tired. I checked my phone. An email from my bank. Subject: transaction completed. At first, just another automated message, but the amount caught my eye. I opened it. For a second, nothing made sense. Then it hit me. The address, my address, property transfer, funds dispersed. I stared, reading it over and over. My house had been sold. I didn't panic. I didn't yell, call, or even feel my heart race. I sat there halfway across the world and let the information settle. Then I did what I always do. I asked questions quietly, carefully. What I found was worse than expected. I looked at the officers in my living room. They were waiting. I nodded. "You asked why I didn't report it," I said. Calm voice. "I didn't report it because I knew exactly who did it." The younger officer leaned forward. "Who?" "My father," I said. The room went quiet, and he didn't act alone. Softer this time, he did it for my brother. Recognition shifted in the older officer's posture. The younger stayed standing, arms crossed, eyes moving between me and the floor. Family cases are never clean. I took a breath and looked past them at the morning light settling into the room. "You need to understand what that house was," I said. "Otherwise, none of this makes sense." The older officer nodded. "Go ahead." And just like that, I was back there again. I bought the house on a Thursday. I remember because I almost pushed the closing back for duty that weekend. But the seller didn't want to wait. I signed papers in uniform straight from base, still carrying the smell of salt and engine oil. The realtor smiled like it was more than I let it be. "First home?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am." She handed me the keys ceremonially. I thanked her, walked out, and sat in my truck for a second. Keys in hand. Not base housing. Not a lease, not temporary. Mine. I drove over that evening. The house sat on a quiet street lined with older trees casting long shadows in the late afternoon. Nothing fancy. Just a place for someone who worked for a living. I unlocked the door and stepped inside. Empty. Echoing. Full of possibility. I walked slowly through each room. Kitchen, living room, upstairs bedrooms, small office. I ran my hand along the walls as if confirming they were real. Then I stepped onto the back deck. Not much. Just a basic structure. A little worn, but I could see it the way I wanted it. Cleaned up, reinforced, a place to sit when the world slowed down. I thought, this is where I come back after deployments, after months away, after everything. This would still be here. I worked on that house like some work on themselves, slowly, steadily. Days off, tools and supplies, fixing what needed fixing. Neighbors started to recognize me. Retired couple across the street, Tom and Linda. "Military?" he asked. "Yes, sir." Nods, acknowledgement. We didn't talk much, but he waved every morning. Linda would bring over cookies, pie, simple things that tasted like care. It felt steady, grounded, like I had finally stepped into a life that didn't constantly shift under my feet. My father visited once, 6 months after moving in. Hands behind his back, inspecting. "Nice place," he said. "Thank you. You did this on your own." "Yes, sir," pride. But also a quiet, "Your brother could use something like this," he added. I didn't respond immediately. Daniel had moved through 3 apartments in 2 years. Late rent, evictions, broken promises. He could, I said finally, but he'd have to build it himself. My father's jaw tightened. "Not everyone gets the same chances," he said. I met his gaze. "No, but everyone makes choices." That was the first clear line between us. No argument, just difference. Daniel came by unannounced once. I was working on the deck when I heard him. "Well, look at this," he said, stepping onto the grass like he owned it. I wiped my hands on a rag. "Didn't know you were in town," I said. "Thought I'd check in on my little sister," he replied with that easy smile. Walked around, surveying. "Nice setup. Must have cost a bit." "It did," he nodded, doing the math. "Ever think about renting it out?" "Number, why not? You're gone half the time." "Because it's not an investment," I said. "It's my home." He laughed lightly. "Everything's an investment if you look at it right." I didn't argue. We spoke different languages. Before he left, he clapped my shoulder. You always were the responsible one. Good thing too. Someone's gotta be. I watched him drive away, dust kicking up. Something about that moment stayed with me longer than I expected. By the time I deployed again, the house was exactly where I wanted it. Not perfect, but solid, safe. Bills automated, security active, mail forwarded. I walked through each room one last time before leaving, same way as the first day I bought it. Only this time, it didn't feel empty. It felt lived in, earned. I locked the door, slipped the key into my pocket. I'll be back, I said quietly. Not to anyone, just to the house itself. Back in the present, I looked at the officers again. That house wasn't just property. It was 12 years of my life. Every deployment, every sacrifice, everything I chose not to spend so I could build something mine. The younger officer uncrossed his arms. And your father knew that? He asked. I gave a small, humorless smile. He knew exactly what it meant to me. The older officer leaned forward. And your brother? I shook my head. Daniel doesn't think like that. He thinks about value, not cost. Silence settled again, heavier, more personal. I picked up my glass of water. I didn't drink. You asked why I didn't report it right away, I said. Calm voice, something cold underneath. Not anger. I didn't report it because I needed to be sure. Sure of what? The older officer asked. That it wasn't a mistake. That it was a choice. I set the glass down, paused, letting it settle. I decided to handle it differently. 12 years in the military teach the difference between noise and signal. Most people react to noise. Signal is quieter. That email from my bank? Signal. Everything after treated the same way. I didn't call my father, Daniel, or even the bank immediately. I read the email again, line by line. Property transfer completed, funds dispersed, closing documents attached, a link at the bottom, secure access. I clicked. The connection loaded slowly. The documents came through. PDFs, clean, official. Closing statement, seller Rebecca Carter, property address mine, sale price $680,000. Nothing unusual if you didn't know better. Signature page. My name, handwriting, signature. Perfect. Not random, not generic. Someone who had seen me sign more than once. Someone close. I opened the next authorization forms. Notarized. Witness signatures. Clean on the surface. But closer inspection revealed small things off. Timestamps too convenient. A notary I didn't recognize. A mailing address, not mine. Built to pass, not withstand scrutiny. That's when I picked up the phone, not for home, but to call my bank. Took a while, layers of automated systems, eventually a real person. Rebecca Carter, I said. I need information about a property transaction completed under my account. Pause. Yes, ma'am. I see it here. Everything appears in order. I didn't authorize it. Silence. Tone shifted. I understand your concern, ma'am. We have documentation confirming your consent. I'd like to know who submitted the documents. I can't release that without a formal request. Then consider this a formal request. Another pause. I'll escalate, she said. Can I place you on hold? You can. Line went quiet. I wasn't upset. I was focused. When she returned, cautious voice. Ma'am, documents submitted by an authorized representative listed on your account. I tightened my grip. I don't have an authorized representative. Yes, ma'am, she said. You do. Power of attorney filed last year. That stopped me. I knew who I asked. She hesitated. I'm not sure I'm permitted to... Who? I repeated, steady. Silence. Then, your father, ma'am. I didn't speak immediately. Pieces fell into place. Power of attorney filed last year. Paperwork my father asked me to sign before deployment. Emergency access, nothing major. I signed quickly, trusted him, because family. Are you still there? She asked. I'm here. Would you like to initiate a fraud investigation? I stared at the wall. No, I said. Pause. I'm sorry. Another silence. She recommended reporting misuse of power of attorney. I knew. Then why not? Because I needed more information first. Not entirely a lie. Not the whole truth either. After hanging up, I sat long, not thinking about money or the house, thinking about my father. The man who taught me to drive showed up to my graduation, standing taller than usual, saying, "You're the one I never have to worry about." Somewhere that turned into, "You're the one we can take from." I didn't call him that night. I didn't call the next day. I started a different kind of call. Someone I hadn't spoken to in years. A lawyer. Not just any lawyer. One who handled family legal matters when I was younger. Picked up on the second ring. "Rebecca," he said, surprised. "It's been a while." "It has. I need to know everything about a power of attorney filed under my name last year and how it was used to sell my house." Pause. "That's specific," he said. "I'll send the documents." "Do that," I replied. "Rebecca, if what you're saying is accurate." He didn't finish. I knew. Over the next few days, I gathered information quietly, carefully. No sudden moves, no emotion. The lawyer called back 2 days later. "I've reviewed everything," he said. Pause. "It's valid." I closed my eyes. "Explain the power of attorney. Broad authority to your father. Too broad in my opinion, but legal." "Sale legal on paper. Not clean," he added. "Could be reversed if challenged, but as it stands, it went through. Money transferred to an account under your father's control, then distributed to Daniel." "Yes." I opened my eyes. There it was. Fact. Not suspicion, not theory. My father signed my name, sold my house, handed the money to my brother. Not necessity, choice. "We can take action immediately. File an injunction. Freeze accounts. There are options," the lawyer said. I considered. "No," I said. "Not yet." "Why?" "I wanted to see how far they would go." Silence. "These are your parents," he said. "I know." "And your brother?" "I know that too." Another pause. "Be careful," he said. "There's a difference between justice and something else." I didn't tell anyone I was coming home. Not my father, not Daniel, not even a few friends from base. Booked flight, packed gear, moved efficiently. Plane touched down. No relief, just clarity. I didn't go back to my house. It wasn't mine anymore. I rented a small place on the edge of town, a converted garage behind an older couple's home. One room, narrow kitchen, bathroom past its prime. Temporary. First night, suitcase still closed. No personal items. I didn't want comfort. Comfort slows you. I was here to finish something. The next morning I called the lawyer. "I'm back," I said. "Already knew," he replied. We met that afternoon. Same office, worn leather chairs, shelves of files. He looked older. Not weak. Just slower. "You look well," he said. "I'm fine." We sat. He opened a folder. Everything documented. Copies of power of attorney, closing statements, bank transfers, names, dates, signatures. "Walk me through it," I said. "Your father filed power of attorney last year just before deployment. Broad authority over your finances and property." I remember signing something. "Should have read it more closely," he said, not critical. I trusted him. He didn't respond. "Initiated the sale about a month ago. Listed property, accepted an offer, completed the transaction in 2 weeks. Fast," he said. "Too fast for a typical sale, but not impossible. Buyer legitimate, no family connection, acted in good faith. Funds transferred to father, then Daniel." I closed the folder. Clean, direct, unavoidable. Legally? He leaned back. Complicated. On surface, father acted within power of attorney. But if proven he used it in bad faith for personal gain or to benefit another, it could be fraud or forgery. Signature less relevant if power of attorney valid. He had legal right. That settled my mind. This wasn't sloppy. Not desperation. Calculated. "What are my options?" I asked. No hesitation. Civil suit, challenge sale, attempt reversal, pursue damages, criminal charges. Message 3. Tip top. Message 4. If the district attorney finds enough evidence of fraud or misuse, charges could be filed. I nodded slowly. And Daniel, he received the funds. That implicates him, but to a lesser degree unless intent can be proven. I absorbed it, thinking. Then I asked the question that mattered most. If I do nothing, what happens? The lawyer studied me. Nothing, he said. The sale stands. The money is gone. Life moves on. I nodded. And if I move forward, your father could be charged, convicted, incarcerated, depending on the outcome. Daniel, possible charges, financial liability, long-term consequences. I looked down at the folder again. Paper, ink, decisions. "Do you want to proceed?" he asked. I didn't answer immediately. Closed the folder, pushed it back. "Not yet." He frowned slightly. "Rebecca, delaying could make things more difficult." "I'm aware." "Then why wait?" I met his eyes. "Because I want them to tell me." He didn't understand. "Tell you what? The truth," I said. "Without a lawyer, without a courtroom." He leaned forward. "You think they will?" "No," I said calmly. "I don't." "Then what's the point?" I stood. "The point," I said, "is to give them the chance." He watched me. Then he nodded slowly. "Be careful," he said again. "This isn't just legal anymore." I know. I didn't go to my father's house that day or the next. I drove past it once. Just once. Same place I grew up, same driveway, same front porch where I used to sit as a kid. It looked smaller now. Or maybe I just saw it differently. My father's truck was in the driveway. So was Daniel's. I didn't stop, didn't get out, just kept driving. The first contact came from them 3 days later, a phone call. My father's name on the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. "Hello, Rebecca," he said, voice steady, controlled. "Yes, sir. You didn't tell us." I didn't think it necessary. Pause. "Well," he said, clearing his throat. "It would have been nice to know." "I'm sure it would." Another pause. Then he said it. "I wanted to talk to you about the house." Of course he did. "I heard it sold quickly." "Good for you," I said. Silence. "Not long. But enough." "That's not exactly how I'd put it," he said. "How would you put it?" "We made a decision," he replied. "Ass." I leaned against the kitchen counter the same way I had when the officers were there. "I don't remember being part of that decision," I said. "You were deployed," he said quickly. "We couldn't reach you in time." "Interesting," I said, "because my email seems to work just fine." He didn't respond. Instead, he shifted. "Daniel was in trouble," he said. "Serious trouble. He owed money, more than he could handle." "That's not new." "This was different," my father insisted. "People were involved, not the kind you ignore. I let that settle. So, you sold my house. We used the resources available to us," he said carefully. "My resources." "Our resources," he corrected. There it was. The line clear as day. "No," I said quietly. "Not ours." Silence again. Then his voice softened. "You've always been strong, Rebecca," he said. "Independent." I closed my eyes for a moment. There it was. Not anger, not guilt, just justification. "I see," I said. "Do you?" "Yes," I replied. We didn't argue. We didn't raise our voices. We just spoke. And in that conversation, I heard everything I needed to hear. Not details, not explanations, the belief. The belief that what he'd done was right. That I would understand. That I would accept it. Because I always had before. When the call ended, I stood for a long time, phone in hand. Then I set it down, walked over to my suitcase, and finally opened it not to unpack, but to take out what I'd been carrying with me the whole time. The folder, the documents, the truth. I placed them on the table, looked at them, and made my decision. The next morning, I called the lawyer. "I'm ready," I said. "I'm ready," I told him. Brief pause on the line, like he wanted to be sure I meant it. "All right," he said finally. "Then we move carefully." "I don't want noise," I said. "No letters yet, no filings they can see coming. You want to build the case first. I want them comfortable." He understood. "Then we document everything," he said. "From this point forward, every conversation, every transaction, every statement I'd already started. I figured you would." We met that afternoon. He laid out a clean plan, not relying on emotion or timing, just sequence. "First," he said, tapping the folder, "secure what we already have. Certified copies of documents, independent verification of signatures, bank records. Done," I said. He nodded. "Second, establish intent. That's harder." "Yes, but not impossible. People explain themselves when they think they're justified." "Good. Then we let them. That's how the trap works. Not by pushing, by waiting." I called my father the next day, not to confront him, to give him space. I've been thinking about what you said, I told him. That's good, he replied. Relief in his voice, though he tried to hide it. I knew you'd understand. I want to, I said, but I need to hear it clearly. Pause. What do you mean? I said evenly, I want you to tell me exactly what happened from your side. He hesitated. Not because he didn't know, but because he was deciding how much to say. Daniel got into trouble, he began. He owed money, more than we could cover on our own. So you used the power of attorney? Yes. To sell my house? Yes. And you didn't tell me? You were deployed, he said again. That's not an answer. Another pause. Then a shift. We didn't have time, he said. It had to be done quickly. We, your brother and I. Daniel was involved in the decision. Of course he was. My father snapped lightly. It was his situation. I let the silence stretch just long enough. And the money, I asked, went where it needed to go. Rebecca, he said, patience thinning. Why are you asking questions you already know the answers to? Because I needed to hear you say it. But I didn't say that out loud. I just want to understand, I replied. He exhaled slowly. The money paid off Daniel's debts. All of them. Oh, yes. How much? Another hesitation. 42,000. He said more than I'd been told. Anything else? Number. That was a lie. I didn't correct him. Not yet. After the call, I wrote everything down. Word for word. Time, date, tone, memory fades, records don't. 2 days later, I reached out to Daniel. He answered on the first ring. Hey, he said casually, didn't expect to hear from you. I'm back, I said. Yeah, Dad mentioned that. Thought we should talk about the house. Short laugh. Yeah, about that. Something in his voice, not guilt, relief. A weight lifted, already past caring. I know things got complicated, he said. But it worked out, right? For who? For all of us, he said quickly. I wasn't even there. The house wasn't empty. You know what I mean? No, I said. He sighed. Look, I was in a bad spot. You don't understand the kind of pressure. Then explain it. That caught him off guard. What? Explain it, I repeated. Help me understand. Pause. Then he started talking, and once he started, he didn't stop. That's the thing about people who think they've already been forgiven. They talk freely. I got in deep, he said. At first, small stuff, games, bets, nothing serious. Then it escalated. How? I owed the wrong people, he admitted. Not just friends, not just banks. How much? Pause. 60,000, he said quietly. So there it was, higher than what my father had said. And you couldn't pay it, number? So you went to Dad. Of course. And the solution was my house? It wasn't like that, he said quickly. We talked about options. What options? Selling the house made the most sense, he insisted. You weren't using it. You had savings. You're stable. I let that sit. I'm expendable, I said. That's not what I said. That's what you meant. Silence. Then he tried something else. Look, he said softer. We're family. We help each other. You would have done the same for me. I almost smiled. No, I wouldn't have, but I let him believe it. Maybe, I said. Just like that, conversation shifted. He relaxed again. You always were the strong one. You'll bounce back. There it was again, the belief that I would absorb the damage because I always had. When the call ended, I sat long, not angry, not surprised, just clear. Everything I needed was there. Not documents, not transactions, but intent, reasoning, absence of remorse. I took notes, added them to the file, and called the lawyer. I have what we need, I said. That was fast. He didn't ask what I meant. He didn't need to. All right, he said. Next step. Formalize, file report, submit evidence. Let the system do what it's designed to do. I looked at the folder in front of me, everything laid out, clean, complete. No, I said, pause. Not yet, Rebecca. Why? I leaned back. Once we file, it's out of my hands. That's the point. I know. Then what are you waiting for? I thought about it. About my father's voice. About Daniel's certainty. About them moving on. I'm waiting, I said slowly, for them to believe they got away with it. Silence. Then the lawyer spoke more carefully. And then I closed the folder. And then I said, I knock. The knock came sooner than they expected. Not mine, the law's. By then, nearly a week had passed since my last conversation with Daniel, long enough for him to settle back into whatever version of normal he believed. Long enough for my father to convince himself the hardest part was over. Long enough for both to mistake my silence for surrender. They had always made that mistake with me. They thought if I wasn't yelling, I wasn't fighting. But some of the strongest moves in life are made in silence. The lawyer filed everything on a Tuesday afternoon. Not dramatically, no speeches, just a clean submission to the right offices, backed by certified documents, bank records, notarized closing papers, and my own written account of what happened. He also requested immediate review of the transaction and the fund transfer. This wouldn't move overnight, he told me. I know, but it will move. That was enough. I thanked him, hung up, and sat for a while at the little kitchen table in the rental behind the old couple's house. Scratched from years of use, a place where ordinary people ate ordinary meals, paid ordinary bills, argued over ordinary things. Comforting because what had happened didn't feel ordinary. It felt like a wound dressed up in legal language. I made coffee I didn't really want, stood by the window watching the narrow gravel driveway, landlord's wife hanging laundry, moving slowly, carefully. That morning, I almost envied her not for easy life, just because it looked simple. Mine no longer was. The first call came from my father just after noon the next day, 3 rings before answering. "Rebecca," he said, voice tight, controlled. "Did you file something?" I didn't answer immediately. That was answer enough. "Did you?" He asked again, louder. "Yes," I said. Silence. Then a breath I could hear clearly. Not steady, not calm. A man trying not to lose his footing. "You really did it," he said. "I told you I needed the truth." "I told you the truth." "No," I said quietly. "You told me your version." His voice sharpened. "I'm your father." "Yes, sir. You are." As if that means nothing to you. I looked out the window at the bright afternoon sun lying flat across the yard. The laundry stirred in the breeze. "It means a great deal," I said. "That's why this hurts." He went quiet again. For a moment, I thought maybe he'd step into the truth fully, say the words missing all along. "I was wrong. I betrayed you. I'm sorry." Instead, "You could have come to me." I closed my eyes. I did. "No," he insisted. "You went behind my back. Behind his back." That almost would have made me laugh if it hadn't hurt. "You sold my home without permission," I said. "You used my name, my property, my future to fix Daniel's mess. And you think I went behind your back?" His breath hitched slightly. "We were trying to protect the family." "The family?" I repeated. "Or Daniel?" "That's enough," he snapped. "No," I said, voice calm enough to make his anger sound louder. "Not yet." He didn't speak. Neither did I. Then in a much quieter voice, he asked, "Do you know what they'll do to him?" I knew he meant Daniel. I also knew he wasn't asking what they would do to himself. "Yes," I said. "I've thought about that a great deal." He was desperate. "So was I," I replied. Only no one asked me what it would cost. That evening, Daniel called. No easing into it. "What the hell did you do?" he barked. I told the truth. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," he said. "It was a house. Rebecca, a house." Words reveal more than confessions. "Not just a house," I said. "Oh, come on." "No," I said, I meant it. "You come on. Say it plainly." "What?" "Say what you did," he scoffed. "I had debts. So you let Dad sell my home. You weren't even living there." Something old, tired, settled inside me. Not rage, finality. I was serving overseas. "Exactly," he said, as if that proved his point. "You had a paycheck, benefits, a future. You could recover. And you couldn't. I was drowning. And you chose my oxygen." That shut him up. Then he changed tactics, as he always did when guilt didn't work. "You think you're better than us?" he said. "Number. Yes, you do. Ever since the Navy. Ever since you bought that place. Ever since you started acting like you built yourself from scratch. I did build that life. I said you had help. Not from you." He laughed harshly. "Fine. You want to punish us? Go ahead. But don't pretend this is about justice. This is revenge." The word hung there. Revenge. Strange how clean it sounded in his mouth, as if naming it would shame me. But the truth was more complicated. "No," I said at last. Revenge would have been letting you keep talking until you destroyed yourselves on your own." He went quiet, then softer. "Dad's not doing well." That landed where it was meant to, a lower blow, familiar. I leaned against the counter, stared at the sink. For years, I thought keeping the peace was the same as loving this family. I was wrong. He didn't answer. "I'm done paying for what you refuse to face," I said. Then I hung up. The next morning, just after 6 o'clock, there was a hard knock at my door. 3 sharp blows, pause, then 3 more. "Police ma'am," opened the door. I was already awake. Pale blue light washed the cheap blinds, my boots already on. I crossed the small room and opened the door. 2 officers stood there, one older, one younger. I had seen enough official visits to recognize the posture. Immediately polite, but firm. The kind people wear when the next few minutes may change someone's life. The older officer removed his hat. "Ma'am, are you Rebecca Carter?" "Yes. We need to ask you some questions regarding the property sale at your former address." I stepped aside and let them in. This was the moment I had carried in my mind for weeks. Not for spectacle, I didn't want that, but because truth has to put on shoes and walk into the room. The older officer opened a folder. "Records show a home was sold in your name for $680,000. We have documentation bearing your signature, as well as evidence of transferred proceeds. We need to confirm whether you authorized that transaction." I looked at him, then at the folder, then back at him again. "No," I said. "I did not." The younger officer glanced at the older one. The older one nodded slightly and continued. "Can you identify who did?" "Yes." "Who?" "My father," I said, using a power of attorney I had signed before deployment. "He sold the house and transferred the money to cover my brother Daniel's gambling debt." The officers were quiet for a moment. Then the older one said, "We'll need a formal statement. You'll have it." I gestured toward the table. "My file is already prepared." He looked at me, then at the folder I had laid out the night before. That was when he understood this wasn't confusion. It wasn't panic either. It was patience. Later that morning, after I finished my statement and the officers had gone, the lawyer called. "They've also gone to your father's house," he said, "and to Daniel." I closed my eyes for a second. Not out of pleasure, not triumph. Even when justice is necessary, it rarely feels clean. "What happened?" I asked. "Your father was served. Daniel too. There will be interview subpoenas, likely a freeze on some remaining funds." I sat slowly at the kitchen table. "Did my father say anything?" The lawyer paused. "Yes." "What?" He hesitated, then answered. "He asked why you didn't come home and speak to him first." I looked down at my hands, the same hands that had signed enlistment papers, mortgage documents, duty rosters, leave forms, Christmas cards, the same hands he had used against me. "I did speak to him," I said quietly. "Yes," the lawyer replied. "I know." After we hung up, the room stayed still. No shouting, no victory, no satisfaction. Just stillness. I had waited for the knock. And when it came, it didn't sound like revenge. It sounded like the end of pretending. After the knock, everything slowed down, not all at once. Not in a way you could measure, but the urgency. The sharp edge that had carried me through those weeks began to soften. Legal things move the way they move. Papers filed, statements taken, dates set, predictable in their own way. But people? People don't follow a schedule. I didn't go to see my father right away. Not because I didn't care, because I needed to know who I was walking in as. Not the daughter who avoided conflict, not the one who kept the peace at her own expense. Something different. Something clearer. The first update came from the lawyer 2 days later. "Your father has legal representation," he said. "So does Daniel." I expected that. "There's a possibility of criminal charges," he continued. "But it may not go that far." "Why?" "They're arguing that the power of attorney gave your father the authority to act in what he believed was your best interest." I let out a slow breath. "And do you believe that?" I asked. "I believe," he said carefully, "that argument will be challenged." I nodded. "And Daniel, more exposed," he said. "The transfer of funds directly to him complicates things. It should have felt like progress. It didn't. It felt like distance." 3 days after that, my father called again. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Rebecca," he said. His voice sounded older. Not physically, just worn. "Yes, sir." "I'd like you to come by." If you're willing. That was new. Not a command. Not an expectation. A request. I'll come by this afternoon, I said. The house looked the same. Same porch, same paint, same mailbox leaning slightly, but it didn't feel the same. I parked on the street, sat in the car for a moment before getting out. The front door opened before I reached it. My father stood there. He looked smaller, not in height, in presence like something inside him had shifted. "Come in," he said. I stepped past him into the house. The air smelled the same. Old wood, coffee, a faint trace of something cooking earlier. Daniel was in the living room. He stood when he saw me, didn't say anything. Neither did I. We all stood for a moment, 3 people connected by blood and distance at the same time. Then my father spoke. "Sit down," he said. We did. No rush, no raised voices, no accusations. Just a quiet heavier than any argument. Finally, my father cleared his throat. "I've had time to think," he said. I didn't interrupt. I told myself I was doing the right thing. He went on. That I was protecting this family. He paused. "But I see now," he swallowed. "I see now that I was choosing one of you over the other." I held his gaze. "Yes," I said. Daniel shifted in his seat. "That's not fair," he muttered. My father turned toward him. "No," he said quietly. "It is." That surprised me. "Not dramatic, just honest. I thought you'd understand," my father continued. "You've always been the strong one, the one who didn't need help." I let that sit. "Strength doesn't mean I don't feel the loss," I said, "and it doesn't give anyone the right to take from me without asking." He nodded slowly. "I know that too." Daniel leaned forward, elbows on knees. "I messed up," he said. Not loud, not dramatic, just flat. "I got in over my head," he continued. "I kept thinking I could fix it myself. Then it got worse and worse. I didn't think about what it would cost you. I just thought about getting out. That's the problem," I said. "You only think when you're already drowning." He didn't argue. We talked for a long time. Not about legal strategy. Not about what might happen next. About the years before this. The patterns we all had been part of. My father's need to protect. Daniel's habit of falling and expecting to be caught. My role in it all. The one who carried quietly. The one who absorbed. The one who didn't complain until I did. "I can't undo what I did," my father said at one point. "No," I agreed. "You can't. I can't give you that house back." "I know, but I want to make it right." I studied him. "How?" I asked. He didn't answer immediately, because this time he knew there wasn't an easy fix. "By being honest," he said finally. "By not hiding behind excuses, by facing whatever comes." I nodded. "That's a start." Later, when Daniel stepped outside to take a call, my father looked at me more directly. "Are you going to let this go?" he asked. I understood. The case, the charges, the consequences. I took a breath. "I'm not dropping everything I said," I said. "There need to be consequences." He nodded. "I understand, but I'm not trying to destroy you," I added. "Or him." His shoulders eased slightly. "I'm asking for accountability," I said. "Real accountability." "What does that look like?" he asked. "Transparency," I said. "No more hidden decisions. No more using me as a solution without my consent." He nodded. "And Daniel?" "Needs help, not bailouts." My father followed my gaze. "Yes," he said quietly. "He does." When I left that afternoon, nothing was magically fixed. The house was still gone. The legal process was still moving, the damage still there. But something had shifted. Not erased, not healed, just acknowledged. And sometimes that's where healing starts. In the weeks that followed, we worked through the next steps. The lawyer negotiated, statements clarified, intent established. In the end, charges reduced. Restitution arranged. Daniel entered a program for gambling addiction. My father agreed to financial oversight. Not perfect, but real. I never got that house back. And for a while, that hurt more than I expected. Not because of the money, because of what it represented. A place I built, a place I thought would always be there. Life reminds you nothing stays untouched. Not houses, not families, not even the rules we think we understand. I found another place eventually. Smaller, simpler, closer to base. First night I slept there, I didn't feel the same sense of arrival, but I did feel something else. Peace. Not from everything going right, but knowing I didn't lose myself when everything went wrong. Sometimes people ask why I didn't stay quiet, why I didn't let it go. The answer is simple. Silence doesn't fix what's broken. It just hides it. And hidden things grow. If you've ever been in a situation where someone you love crossed a line you never thought they would, felt the pull between protecting your family and protecting yourself, I understand. It's not easy, not clean, but it matters. Because in the end, family isn't about what you're willing to sacrifice without being asked. It's about what you're willing to respect. I lost my house, but I didn't lose myself. And this time, they finally understood what that meant.